Dear students, today we are going to learn about the 14th group, which contains carbon, silicon, germanium, tin and lead. And these elements belongs to P block. Carbon and silicon are non-metals, but silicon has a slightly metallic character. So silicon is generally used in semiconducting material, whereas germanium is a metalloid. Tin and leads are metals. Carbon is a 3 isotope. Isotopes means what? Number of protons are same, whereas the number of neutrons are different, and it is known as isotope. So C12 isotope is a very stable, and C14 is used to get the idea about the life of the materials. Okay, and it is available in very trace amount in atmosphere. So radioisotope of C14 can be produce a thermal neutron irradiations of aluminum nitride. This is like nitrogen, and one neutrino is there, so you will get so this is the nitrogen, and if I am bombarding a neutron on it, so from this I will get carbon plus proton. Okay, so in atmosphere, C14 is produced by the action of neutron in cosmic rays on nitrogen, and its formations and absorption of 14 CO2 by living system is used in radiocarbon dating method to determine the age of the archaeological species. And Libby developed this method for he won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1960. Catenation is nothing but self-linking property, and the catenations of carbon is the highest, and if you are moving from up to down in any group, so the catenation property decreases, and it depends mainly on the bond energy. So carbon-carbon bond energy is high, therefore carbon can has a maximum catenation property, and bond energy decreases down the group, so catenation property is like this. And sulfur shows the catenation because of SS bond energy is relatively high, and boron, silicon, phosphorus so heterocatenation like BO, SiO and PO bonds energy are high. So that is here. Allotropes and structure. As you know that allotropes means what? For example, if I am talking about the carbon, so carbon has a 3 allotropes, and graphite, diamond and fullerenes. Okay. Whereas tin has a very low allotropes. So these things we already, it is a well known. So graphite is a 3-dimensional layered structure, carbon diamond is a tetrahedral structure, and fullerene, or this is also known as a buckyball. So these are 3 allotropes for carbon, like graphite is a layered structure, cubic structure and carbon cluster. Whereas silicon is a diamond structure, germanium is also a diamond structure, and tin has also 3 allotropes like alpha, beta, gamma, so diamond, cubic and simple cubic structure. And these things you had learned little bit in solid state chemistry, and PB as a cubic closed spec structure. If I'm talking about the graphite, that you all know, mostly you all used pencil and still you are using. So the inside material is graphite, and you know that it is a like softy, dull looking greasy substance, and graphite is a good conducting material, and graphite is this kind of 3-dimensional layer structure. and the bond between two carbon is a sigma bond mostly, and in this layer structure carbon is always attached with initially 3 carbons. Okay, so there are 1 electron left, so hence they can form this kind of double bond structure. And this pi bond is always delocalized in whole this graphite layers. Okay, so the bond distance between two carbons is like 1.415 angstrom, and as I told you, this is a straight seat structure. So there is a distance between two seats is like 3.35 angstrom, and it is like a the layers are joined by weak van der Waals force. This is the important thing. The layer is joined by weak van der Waals force, so you can break the layer, or sometimes some people can insert some small molecule between these layers, and they can use this material for like some kind of delivery systems like drug delivery or pollutant removal, like this. So the weak force between the layers allows one layer to slide over the others, and it imparts softness to graphite, and therefore it is used in pencil for writing. And due to the pi localized of electron graphite structure, it makes it conducting material, and you can use for electrode. Intercalations compound of graphite. So as I mentioned you, like there is some vast difference between two graphite layers. So some of the molecule or ions can easily penetrate into layers, and such aggregates are known as intercalations or lamellar compounds. So these are the two types. So those in which graphite becomes non-conducting, for example graphite oxide and graphite fluoride, and second one is in which conductivity of graphite retain or even enhance, for example C8M, so M is equal to potassium, rubidium, cesium, and they have a high electric conductivity because metal is present between layers, so you can make a conducting. Diamond, that we all know because Surat is famous for its diamond. So mostly diamond has a tetrahedral structure, and one carbon is always attached with another 4 carbon, which can make a tetrahedral structure. And if I'm talking about the hybridization, it is a sp3 hybridization, and carbon always make a bond with another 4 carbon via sigma bond. The bond energy is 356 kilojoule per mole inverse, and is high, and the hardness of diamond is very high compared to its allotrope. So the density of diamond is like 3.51 gram per centimeter cube, which is greater than graphite. And this shows that the change from graphite into diamond, it requires some kind of pressure, so you can easily prepare diamond from graphite from diamond. Graphite can be transformed into diamond at a reasonable rate at high pressure, like 3000 Kelvin, in presence of transitions metal as a catalyst. Fullerene, there are 3 scientists who won Nobel Prize in 1996 for discovery of the fullerene, and R.F. Kull, S.W. Kroto, and Richard Smalley. So these are the 3 scientists. They won Nobel Prize for the discovery of the fullerene. So fullerene is some kind of cluster case-like structure, and the synthesis is a little bit tricky. So you have to take a graphite rod, and in electric spark at argon atmosphere, you have to vaporize this graphite rod. Okay, and then remove that particular energy, and you have to make the soot, and that particular soot you have to dissolve in benzene. Okay, so you will get wine red color solutions and make it crystallize, so you will get fullerene. So generally fullerene contains 60 carbon. Okay, but some of the other fullerene also exists, like 60, 70, 80 up to 600 carbon. So mustard color crystal C60 is obtained and C70 is traced. So C60 and C70 you can easily separate by chromatography method or alumina, that chromatography method that you will learn in next semester. So many other fullerene also exist, such as 32, 50, 76, 84, etc. and up to 600. So C60 cluster is called Buckminster Fullerene in the honor of American architect Robert Buckminster Fuller. And these are some special feature of fullerene, like spherical structure, so it's like football structure, and 12 5-member rings and 26 member rings are fused, and it's vice versa. So 6-member rings are fused with 5-member and 6-member rings both, as I told you. Like carbon atom, the hybridization is sp2 and making a 3-bond structure. So rest of 1 electron with carbon in 2p orbitals form pi. So the pi bonds are delocalized in whole C60, and the average bond distance is 1.44 angstrom. So this is the structure of fullerene. Okay. Structure of C60, and this structure of C60 should be right here. So this is the general introductions about the silicon, so don't be confused. Okay, so silicon is as we have already seen in table, so the structure is like a diamond structure, and a graphite like structure for silicon is not possible, means layer structure is not possible. So it has a no property of pp pi bond orbital like. And we had already seen like tin has a 3 forms, like alpha tin, beta tin and gamma tin. So like from alpha to beta and beta to gamma. So like non-metallic diamond, metallic distorter and rhombic hedral. Okay, so this is a gray, white and brittle. Semiconductor property of silicon and germanium. So these things you had already learned, and you can dope some of the 13 or 15 group material into silicon and germanium, and you can make a semiconducting material. So if you are adding a 13 group elements into silicon and germanium, you can prepare a p type of semiconductor, whereas for doping of 15 group elements make extra electron in your systems, and it is known as n type of system. So silicon and germanium are important semiconducting materials, and pure silicon and germanium are non-conductor of electricity. However, you can dope 13 and 15 group elements and make it semiconducting. So germanium dopant with indium, when indium is a 13th group elements. So the electronic configuration of germanium is like 4s2 4p2, for indium 5s2 5p1. So germanium is doped with indium, and there is one electron less inside. So they develop some positive Hall inlay ties and make germanium conducting. And such type of semiconductor is called p-type semiconductor. Similarly, you can dope germanium with arsenic also. So here, if you are observing, there is a 1 electron more in valence cell. So arsenic is doped with germanium, and there is a 1 electron excess at a site, and due to this excess electron, germanium conducts the electricity, and such a semiconductor is called n-type. These are the physical property of 14 groups. So if you are observing here, this is the atomic number, and if with increasing atomic number, the atomic radius always increases, because adding of the, if you are observing here, 1 more shell. Okay. So similarly, ionic radius is also always increases. However, the ionization energy is decreases, because the distance between electron and nucleus is increases. the electronegativity is decreases. Similarly, melting point and boiling point always decreases. Oxidation state and bonding. So mostly these things we had already discussed in last lecture also. So all lower members are always stable with highest oxidation state, whereas uh, higher atomic number elements, they are stable with lower oxidation state. Okay, so stability decreases, whereas here stability increases. Okay, and Pb plus 2 is stable due to the inert pair effect that we had already discussed. So carbon and silicon have a high ionization energy, therefore they are covalent compounds, whereas tin and lead form ionic and having appreciable covalent nature. So because of tin and lead are not very large and have 18 electron. So generally carbon and silicon we have seen like form diamond-like structure. Okay, so the bonding pattern is a little bit different. So these are the following reasons. So this is the valence orbital and electron. For carbon is 2s2 2p2, and for silicon 3s2 3p 2 and 3d 0. So there are only 4 valence electrons, so carbon can make only 4 bonds, whereas for here d orbital is vacant d orbital is available and this electron can easily move. Okay, so they can make a 4 5 or 6 bonds, and pi bonding is very effective, whereas here no pi bonding because the vacant d orbital is present, so electron can move directly into vacant d orbitals. C bond C energy is high, so catenation property is very high. Here this bond energy is a little bit low compared to carbon, so catenation property is decreases. So the feature of certain silicon compound having like SiO, SN bonds are explained by d pi p pi bonding rather than p pi bonding. And like trimethylamine is a like pyramidal structure. Similarly, if I'm taking about with silicon, the structure is a planar, and if I'm taking with oxygen, so it is also like a linear kind of structure and little bit bond angle like 144 degree. Okay. So trimethyl selenium is a trigonal planar due to the d pi p pi bonding and involving filled nitrogen 2pz orbital and vacant 3d xy orbital. Whereas large angle at oxygen of diacylyl ether is due to the both electronic and steric factor. So there is a little bit steric hindrance due to the presence of methyl bond. Carbides. So if two metals are present and one of them is carbon, it's known as carbide. So binary compounds of carbon are called carbides, like silicon and carbon, calcium carbon, aluminum carbon. So that's why these all are known as carbides. And there are 3 types of carbides are available. For like ionic carbides, there are 3 types: methanides, acetylides, and propanides. So it's already in name. Methanides is related to form methane-like structure. So your product is like methane-like structure. In acetylide, your product is like acetylene molecule, and propanides, so it's like propene. Okay. So iron carbides are decomposed by water at room temperature, and the liberations of anions are also immediately hydrolyzed, and it affords the method of classification. Like methanides, those carbides which are hydrolyzed to give the CH4 are called methanides, and they are supposed to contain C-4 units. So if you are removing 4 hydrogens, so like that's a C-4. So So from beryllium carbides, you are doing hydrolysis, you can form like methane, same aluminum carbide from methane. So that's why due to the productions of this methane, they are known as methanides. Similarly with acetylenides, so those which are hydrolyzed to C2H2 are called acetylenides, and they are commonly formed from group 1 or group 2. Okay. So like calcium carbide, and if you are doing hydrolysis, so you will get acetylene. Similarly, aluminum carbide with hydrolysis, you will get acetylene. And propanides, it will you will produce a propine. So such carbide hydrolyzed to propine. So this is your product. That's why it is known as propanides. And covalent carbides are also available. One is ionic, another one is covalent. Okay, so as you know that this depends on the electronegativity. If the electronegativity difference is high, then you can get ionic structure, and the electronegativity difference is low, so you will get a covalent character. So the element whose electronegativity or size which is related to carbon, they can form this kind of covalent carbides. So like beryllium, boron, silicon, etc. They can form covalent carbides. So boron and silicon carbides are the most important. Like silicon dioxide and carbon, like silicon and this carbon oxygen, then pure silicon can react with carbon and form silicon carbides, and it is known as carborundum, and it is inert and extremely hard. Similarly, boron carbide is also very hard, infusible and inert, so it is used for bulletproof clothing. And those covalent carbides are comparable in hardness to diamonds, and it is represented at Mohs scale. So the diamond is the hardest element on the earth, and this alpha alumina, the Mohs scale is 8, and for diamond it is a 9. So this boron carbide and silicon carbides are in between them. The last one is industrial carbides. So you have to make carbides with the help of transitions metal. Okay, and such metals are very hard, electrical conductivity and high temperatures. So for example, like titanium carbide, zirconium carbide, molybdenum carbide, tungsten carbide, etc. Oxides, so you can easily make oxide like MO or MO2 kind of things, or sometimes carbon also form suboxide like C3O2 kind structure. So all these three type of oxides that we will see. So all the materials mostly form this kind of oxide and dioxides. Okay, and CO is a neutral, whereas this dioxide is initially in acidic nature, and then all are this amphoteric nature. So carbon monoxide, that we all know, if you are burning carbon with a limited oxygen, so you can produce carbon monoxides. And for laboratory you can easily produce, but don't do at laboratory level because it is also toxic. So like this is a general method, like carbon you can burn with oxygen with limited, you can produce a carbon monoxide. And for laboratory, from acetic acid and you're doing reactions with concentrated sulfuric acid and you have to heat, you can get your carbon monoxide. So you are dehydrating of your formic acid. Sorry, this is a formic acid structure. So it forms many important gaseous mixture which is used for industrial. So this is a name like a mixture of CO plus H2O is known as water gasosynthesis gas, which is used for synthesis in industry. Similar like for CO and nitrogen mixture, it is known as producer gas, and for CO, H2O, methane and carbon dioxide, it is known as coal gas in industry. Carbon monoxide is a neutral oxide, and there is a triple bond between carbon and oxygen. As you know that if you have multiple bond, always one is sigma and rest are the pi bonds. So it has a highest bond energy like 1070 among the diatomic molecules. So CO can act as a weak Lewis base but form stable aggregate with B2H6 that yesterday we have seen. So from this it produced BS3, BF3, because if I am taking B2H6, so I will get a BS3 molecule. It also interact with BFT via like interactions like ligand metal type of interaction. These things also we have seen yesterday. So in adduct BF3 found planar, so boron and carbon distance is very large, like 2.89 angstrom, and such adduct are often called van der Waals molecule. And these things we had already seen in coordinations chemistry, like they can easily form some kind of organometallic coordinations compound. CO is a very toxic and rapid form of bright red complex with hemoglobin molecules, so thus preventing hemoglobin to carry oxygen to the cell and causing the oxygen deficiency to unconsciousness and then death. Carbon monoxide, so if you can burn your material with sufficient amount of oxygen or excess amount of oxygen, you can produce the carbon dioxide. Okay, even you can produce by thermal decompositions of calcium carbonate, so you will get like calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. So all metal carbonates gives CO2 mostly if you are doing reactions with metal carbonate with any kind of acid, mineral acid, so you will get a carbon dioxide as a product. So this is a little bit acidic oxide, and if you are dissolving carbon dioxide into water and produce like carbonic acid, okay, so free acid is not stable and you can easily isolate. So carbonic acid is a jam diol and therefore it is unstable. So however salts are known, like if you are preparing salt from this acid, so it may be like acidic, or if it is in the form of carbonate, then the salt will remain a normal salts. And this MHCO3 are known only for GR metals. And CO2 has lots of biological importance. It maintains the pH of bloods via this equilibrium. So this can act as a buffer in our body, even as we know that for photosynthesis of plants it requires CO2 to make a glucose, and the reversible process is also there. Whenever we are eating food, we are producing this carbon dioxide. And it is widely used in the synthesis of urea. Simply you have to do reactions with ammonia, so you can produce urea. And we also know that CO2 is mostly used in a soft drink, and solid CO2 is known as Dry's ice and Cardis, and it can act as a cooling agent. Okay, so this is a very important property. So silicon dioxide is like CO2 is a solid, and as you know that if the silicon molecule is there, so p-pi bonding is not effective. Okay, so in SiO2 like CO2, this is not effective, and due to the larger size of silicon, more core electron in silicon. Therefore, to stabilize, like SiO2 contains continuous lattice of Si and oxygen atom joined by covalence bond. The hybridization is sp3. Okay, and mostly it can form macromolecules kind structure. Suboxide C3O2 is also you can produce this kind of oxide, and Synthesis is very easy. You can make it from this malonic acid, and you have to do reaction with P2O5, phosphorus pentophase. So this is a little wrong. And you can produce the suboxide, and the structure is a linear structure, and that's why the hybridization is sp hybridizations. Carbon can also make a bond with nitrogen, and it is known as cyanogens. Okay, and this CN has a very good property, and this CN can act as a pseudo halogen that we had already learned in uh, 18th group when we learn in about 17 and 18 group. So we had learned about this term pseudo halogen. Okay. So this is a flammable gas and toxic and water soluble, but it can be prepared by the following reactions. So if you are doing reaction with hydrogen cyanide and nitrogen dioxide, you can produce cyanogens. Similarly, from for metal, you can easily make like reactions with the copper and cyanides. You can produce cyanogen. From dry CN2, it can be made also. So it is cyanogen in similar ways to like halogen, so that's why it is known as pseudo halogen. So like a halogen, it is a disproponates to basic solutions. Okay, and the mixture of O2 and CN2 burns and produce one of the hottest flame, and this is generally used for welding. So this is the one of the important thing, and CN2 molecule is linear, so it's similar like if you are observing here like acetylene. Okay, and this is a sp3 hybridizations. Okay, so that we have already learned in BSc PR theory. If your molecule is linear, you have to write like sp hybridizations. So similarly, you can make a hydrogen cyanide, and as you know that this is one of the poisonous colorless gas, and the boiling point is like 25.6 degrees centigrade, and due to the presence of this nitrogen, it can make hydrogen bonding, and HCN is hydrogen cyanide, so it is a weak acid. So, but pure liquid is a strong acid. So the reaction, you can easily do reaction with boron, and you can easily prepare HCN as a small scale with the help of like sodium cyanide, and if you are doing reaction with HCl, you will get HCl gas. For industrial, so they are producing from methane with ammonia, they will get HCl. Similarly, Andros process, methane, oxygen, ammonia, you will get HCN. So hydrogen cyanide is thought to be small molecule in Earth's primeval atmosphere to produce biologically important chemical. So you can easily make adenine with HCN and ammonia at high pressures and temperature. So it has a very good applications. It can act as a laboratory reagent, and it can use to produce adiponitrile for nylon, and to make sodium cyanide and many cyano complex. So cyanides like sodium cyanide is a very important, and if I'm making potassium cyanide, so as we all know that it's a very poisonous material, and you can easily produce sodium cyanide. So just you have to do reaction between NaOH and hydrogen cyanide, you can get sodium cyanide. Similarly for calcium cyanide and sodium carbonate, you can get a sodium cyanide, and so with sodium amide, you can also produce sodium cyanide. So cyanide of electropositive metals are water soluble, and if you are making metal with Ag plus, and Pb plus 2, so they are insoluble. However, their cyanide can easily form a metal complex, and some of the metal complex are used in laboratory for detections in inorganic qualitative analysis. For example, like K4FeCN6 potassium ferrocyanide is generally very important and chemical in laboratory to detect Fa+3 and copper+2. With respect to bonding, it is similar to CO, and cyanide is a pi acid ligand, and cyano complex of Ag and Au are important, and it can act as a similar like iodine as a reducing agent. And as we know that cyanide is also called pseudo halides, which contain two atoms like carbon and nitrogen. That's why it is known as pseudo halides. And potassium cyanide is extremely toxic, and it causes that because it can easily make some kind of complex with our body enzyme and hemoglobin. So you will die immediately, and the electronic structure of isoelectronic cyanide can make isoelectronic to nitrogen. Means isoelectronic means what number of electrons are same, and cyanide are ambient, that is it can bond through carbon and nitrogen. Halide, so carbon can also make a bond with halides, and it is known if there is a chlorine is also present, so chlorofluorocarbon is known as freon, and this is widely used in refrigerator and air conditions. This gas is widely used in refrigerator and air conditions, and it can be easily prepared. Like if I have a chloroform and I am doing reaction with HF, so I will get chlorofluorocarbon. Similar from carbon tetrachloride, I can also obtain CFC. So they are odorless, inert, and non-toxic and non-corrosive. So that's why they are used in refrigerator or propellant gas in aerosol spray. And CMC is harmful as it is a greenhouse gas because it can deplete the ozone layers, and that's why it is banned nowadays in mostly developing country. From carbon and halogen you can make a Teflon also, which is a very important material. So just you have to make this Teflon, and if you are doing polymerizations of this Teflon, you will get polymer polytetrafluoroethylene, and it has wide applications in mostly utensils. So आपके घर पे जो black color का utensil में होता है वो PTFE होता है, ठीक है. So it is a chemically inert, heat resistance and electrical insulator, and low coefficient of frictions of any known substance which is decreasing with temperature, and it is used in patch material in heart surgery also. Even carbon can make a halide for MX2 and MX4 also, but for PbI4 it is not possible. Okay, and these are the different physical state of silicon halides. So if I'm considering about SiF4, so it's a gas, and SiI4 is a solid. All tetrachloride except CCl4 are hydrolyzed by water, and carbon tetrachloride is not hydrolyzed because in carbon tetrachloride is coordinatively saturate, and CCl bond is less polar. Okay, and you can see so the electronegativity difference is like 0.5. Similar, silicon tetrachloride is extensively hydrolyzed because the bond is little bit polar. The electronegativity difference is 1.2. So this is the process how your SiCl4 hydrolyze. And hydride, so as we know that for carbons it can make a series of hydride like alkane, alkenes or alkynes, or even it can form aromatic hydrocarbon also. So So similar, silicon can also make some kind of hydride which is known as silanes. And the method is very easy. From silicon tetrachloride, if you are doing reaction with lithium aluminum hydride, so you will get a silicon hydride. So similar, germanium, tin and lead can also make a hydride. So silicon, so we have already seen silicon can make a bond with oxygen and carbon and make carbide and oxide also. And silicon can be prepared for oil, resin and plastic also. So this material is inert, water repellent, electronic insulator and heat resistant. So nowadays for implanting body organs, silicon is used due to this inertness property. And all of these properties make silicon very useful. Even in industries, people are using silicon oil also. Because normal oil, with the help of normal oil, they will not achieve that much higher temperature. So hydrolysis of alkyl chlorosilicon produce like a SiOH bond, and they do not dehydrate like gem diols. So by regulating the conditions of reactions you can make it chain kind or ring size, or you can do cross linking with silicon. Okay, so this is the diols. So from diols you can make this kind of silicon, or you can make some kind of this ring polymerization that we had learned in last semester. Then you can carefully control the hydrolysis procedure for desired size. You can make this kind of compound. So it can act as a protective coating, lubricants, oil as an insulator in high voltage transformations, and silicon rubber. Then silicates. Silicates are solid having SiO bond. Okay, and most of the rocks and even containing silicates. So like you can easily make even via synthesis also. Like you have to do reactions with the sodium carbonate with silicon dioxide, and the CO2 gas, it will eliminate from your reactions. They are used in detergent because sodium, due to the sodium, and the concentration of aqueous solution of sodium silicate is solid like and known as the water glass. And variety of silicon found in the basic unit of SiO4 is tetrahedral structure. So it's a tetrahedral structure, and each oxygen atom will carry one negative charge. Then orthosilicates and pyrosilicates are also there. So in this silicate having discrete SiO4 minus ions, and metal ion is always surrounded by oxygen. So these are the different type of orthosilicates. For pyrosilicates, SiO4 share only one oxygen atom. So like this kind of bridge structure is there. Then chain silicate, so it is a one kind of like polymerization process. Okay, so there are two types of pyroxene and amphiboles. So pyroxene are single star infinite chains of compositions like SiO3, and they are produced by sharing two oxygen atom of SiO4. So these are the different type of, and amphiboles, they are double strands cross-linking chain compositions like this and this, and these are the some kind of cross-linking. And the amphiboles, some SiO4 share 2 and other 3 atoms, and amphiboles always contain OH group are joined in metals. Asbestos are one of the example of amphiboles. Then cyclic silicates. So the structure is like cyclic, like ring, and ring with like 3 and 6 tetrahedrons are common. So Si3O9 and Si6O18 are the example. So the structure is like that. Then sheet silicates, it's like graphite sheets. So when 3 oxygen atom of SiO4 tetrahedra are shared, infinite two-dimensional sheet is formed, and the general formula is like Si2O5, and sheet are hold together with weak force, and generally it is a van der Waals force. So these are the examples, and three-dimensional silicates are like quartz is an example of three-dimensional silicate, and it forms like tetrahedral network structure. You can easily isolate silicon from some kind of ore. So silicon is always found as like SiO2, which is present in our sand also. So these are the various methods from that you will get produce easily silicon. So like from silicon dioxide you can do reaction with carbon, you will get silicon. Similarly, pure silicon you can made by reducing SiCl4 with sodium and magnesium also, because these are the active metals, so they can detach chlorine from silicon, and so you will get your silicon. And ultra pure silicon will use in transistor and computer chip for zone refining. Okay, so this 14th group chapter is completed.